Hi, it's Liz at FortWhyte. Welcome to FortWhyte Alive at Home. We're so excited to share this virtual programming with you while you're staying safe in your own homes. So stay tuned. Your FortWhyte Alive host is up next to guide you on your next adventure.
Hi, welcome to FortWhyte Farms. I'm Owen. I'm the kitchen coordinator here on the farm. Today we're going to learn how to make a few different sauces, mother sauces. We're going to start with a vinaigrette. So the great thing about a vinaigrette is you can use it as a marinade for your meats and vegetables. You can use it as a salad dressing, and it is super simple to make. There's just a ratio that you follow. It's 3 parts oil to 1 part acid. So we're going to start. I'm going to use a mixture of olive oil and vegetable oil, just because I find olive oil, if it's all olive oil, is a little bit strong. First, I'm going to do some juicing of acids. So I've got a grapefruit, a lemon, and an orange. We're going to see how much juice I get out of these. And if I don't get a third of a cup, then I will add some vinegar to it. I'm just going to juice all of my fruit into here. Start with maybe a half of everything. It's a big grapefruit. And the orange. And that is over a third of a cup. So we're going to make the vinaigrette in a jar, because then you can shake it up to mix it. Oops, let's measure this out, actually. Perfect, so 1/3. Put the rest of that in here. And I'm going to put 1 cup of oil in there. So I'm going to do half and half if I have enough in here for that, anyway. And you can use flavored oils as well. Sesame oil is a really nice one to use for marinade. Don't use too much, probably just a couple drops is enough. This is my vegetable oil. And if you don't have citrus fruits around, you can use vinegar. You can use white vinegar, apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, any sort of flavors you have. And that's the basic vinaigrette. And then you just want to add some other flavors to it probably. So I'm going to add a little bit of FortWhyte honey to it, just to make it a little bit sweeter. It's probably about half a teaspoon. In there. I made quite a mess here. I'm going to add a little bit of garlic, because who doesn't like garlic? Smash that. So I'm just going to put 1 clove in there. I think a clove for a cup of garlic, or a cup of dressing, is probably more than enough. Try and get it nice and small. If you have a zester at home, using that to crush your garlic is a really good idea. It gets it nice and small for you. You can also use a cheese grater. And then I'm going to put a little bit of cilantro in there, because I love cilantro. And a little pinch of black pepper. Pinch of salt. Put the lid on. You want to make sure the jar you use is big enough to hold a cup of oil, so using a 500 ml jar is usually the best idea. And then just give it a shake. The flavors will come out the longer the vinaigrette sits, but you can definitely use it right away, but it'll be better in an hour. So next we're going to make chicken veloutes. So chicken veloute is a mother sauce that helps you thicken soups and stews, make it with a chicken stock as well. And the nice thing about it is you can also use it as a sauce on top of your meats and your vegetables. So first we're going to add some chicken stock to the pot here and bring it up to a simmer. While we're waiting for that to simmer, we are going to put some clarified butter, which I've already clarified. It's just melted butter. You melt it really slowly and skim off the milk solids from the top. You're left with this beautiful clarified butter that is just the fat, so it has a higher heat content, so you can heat it to a higher temperature. So we're going to put in 2 tablespoons. We're going to have this on low, about 4 probably, on most ovens. And then we're going to add 2 tablespoons flour to it. So this is going to be the thickening agent for our sauce. Just going to use a whisk. You want to cook this for about 2 minutes. I'll turn it up just a little bit. Just to cook out the raw flavor of the flour. But it should be, by the time your chicken stock has come up to a simmer, that your butter and flour has probably cooked enough. You don't want it to brown, although if it does, it just adds a little bit of an extra flavor. The sauce is supposed to be pale in color. If you're just cooking at home, it doesn't matter, as long as it tastes good. Okay, so my chicken stock is just starting to simmer now. I'm just going to spatula so I can pour all of this into it once. Once you have the butter and the flour in there, you want to keep it boiling for a minute or 2, constantly stirring with your whisk, and then you can turn it down. You can turn it down to about medium-low. On most ovens, that's probably about a 3 or a 4. You're going to let it simmer for 30 minutes. So while it simmers, it's going to thicken and it's going to reduce. You're going to be left with a really beautiful sauce that coats the back of a spoon. So we're just going to leave that to simmer for now. So next we are going to make a bechamel sauce. So bechamel is also a mother sauce. It's a white sauce that is just made with milk, flour, and butter. Typically you would use it to make a casserole creamy. You could use it in soups and in stews too if you wanted. And also in a mac and cheese by adding cheese, which is what we're going to do today after we make the basic sauce. So we're going to start actually with some butter in here. We're going to do 2 tablespoons. We're going to melt it. We're going to make a roux again, just like we did with the chicken veloute. I'm just going to guess at the butter. That is probably 2 tablespoons. So I'm just going to turn that on to low, medium low, maybe 3 or 4 on your stove. And while we let that melt, I'm going to measure 1 1/3 cup of milk into this pot and turn that to medium as well. And it's just easier to incorporate the milk with the roux when it's warm, so you don't need to boil it. Just want to bring it up to a warm temperature, so medium low is fine for that as well. And then once the butter is melted, it should take about a minute or so, we will add the flour to it. Stirring it around a little bit helps it melt a little bit faster. And the same with the roux for the veloute. You don't want to brown the butter, although it does add a nutty flavor. That isn't typically what a bechamel looks like. It's usually very pale in color, white even, because of the milk. Okay, so now we're going to add 2 tablespoons of flour to our melted butter. And stir that around until it makes a bit of a paste, look a little bit like glue, but more delicious because it's butter. And then again, we want to cook it for a minute or 2 just to cook out the raw taste of the flour. I'm just going to turn the heat up a little bit on there to medium. And then once the roux is ready to go into the milk, you can do so. So mine started bubbling, so I'm just going to turn this off. Add it to the milk, and then I'm going to turn the milk up. Now we want to bring the milk up to a low boil, just to help it thicken faster. So it may take about 2 or 3 minutes before it comes up to heat. While it's coming up though, we can add the salt and the peppers. We're just going to add a pinch of each to it. Salt. And some pepper. Stir that in. already starting to thicken. It's already starting to look kind of like a cream soup would. And you can see that. What is this? It will start to coat the back of a spoon. It stays on like this, and that's what you want. That's what we're going for. So that's the bechamel. This is what it looks like right now. I'm going to turn the heat down just a little bit to medium low. And then we're going to add our cheese. We're going to add about a half a cup grated cheese, already grated, into it. You just want to add maybe a little bit more cheese into it. There you go. And then you're just going to whisk it until it melts. And you want to keep it on medium while you're doing this. It'll take a minute or two for the cheese to melt and incorporate. So I'm going to taste it before I pour it onto my noodles, which I already have here, because I want to make sure that it's good. Nice and thick. Look at that cheese sauce. Delicious. All right, so I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to add it to my noodles that I've got here. Stir that around. And look at that. So fast. A homemade mac and cheese with a bechamel sauce in only the time that it would probably take to cook. So last we're going to make a hollandaise sauce. Hollandaise, you've probably had it on eggs benedict before. Oftentimes people put it over roasted vegetables like asparagus. And it's just egg yolks, melted butter. We're going to use clarified butter, salt, and some cayenne pepper. Or some cayenne pepper, yeah. So first I'm going to separate the eggs. We're just going to use the yolks. So I've got some eggs here from the farm. I'm going to do 4 for this recipe. So I found the easiest way to do that is to just crack your egg in half and then pass your yolk back and forth. Like this while the white falls out. Another easy way to do it is to just crack the egg right into your hand and let the yolk slide through your hand, or the white slide through your hand. It's a bit messier that way. This way is a little bit easier, cleaner. Hollandaise sauce is not like separating eggs for a meringue. It doesn't matter if there's a little bit of white in with your yolks or anything like that. Just want to get out as much as you can. Do one more after this. That's 3. And you'll see this behind me here. I have a pot of water on the stove. It just has about 1 inch of water in the bottom of it. What we're going to do is we're going to use that as a double boiler, and once we're ready, we're going to put this stainless steel bowl over top of it. And then the steam and the heat that gathers underneath will warm the eggs in a slow way. We want them to cook so that they're safe to eat, but we don't want them to scramble. So to my egg yolks, I'm going to add a tablespoon of lemon juice. So we'll just pour that right in there. And then you're just going to whisk it up. You're just going to whisk it until the lemon juice is incorporated and until the yolks are a little bit thicker than they were when you first started. So that should be good. So this is what your egg yolk and lemon juice mixture is going to look like. Next we're going to put it on the pot. So I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit so that it is simmering slowly. Now I had it hot and ready to go, so it's going to come up to heat a little bit faster. But you probably want it to be, again, at a medium heat. Definitely no higher than 5, probably closer to 3 or 4. And then just when it starts to have bubbles on the bottom that you can see is when you want to put your egg yolk mixture on there. So we're just going to do that. And you want to be whisking it constantly. We're just going to let it warm up a little bit before we add the clarified butter. Now you don't have to use clarified butter. I just happen to have some left over. You can just use melted butter. This recipe calls for half a cup of melted butter, and I happen to have half a cup of clarified butter left over. So, and then you want to, sometimes this works better with a partner, so someone can pour while you whisk. I'm going to do it on my own. Try to. This is my butter. And you just want to pour it in slowly while you whisk. And the reason you want to go slowly is you want to make sure that it, oh my gosh, what is the word? Emulsifies. So the slower you go, the more likely it is that the fat from the butter will mix in nicely to the fat of the egg yolks without breaking. Breaking is just when those things separate, when the oils and the fats. The oils from each of them separate. The nice thing about using clarified butter is that there's less milk solids in it, so the chances of it breaking are less. So the nice thing about having a partner to help you with this is that someone can hold the pot so that it doesn't slide off the burner while you're stirring, like it is for me. I'll just go a few pours at a time to get it done. It's looking really nice though. I'm gonna just turn the heat down on my water because I don't want it to cook the eggs too much or too fast. You don't want the water in the bottom of the pot to touch the bottom of the bowl because that will probably heat up your eggs too fast and you'll end up with scrambled eggs, which would still be delicious, but not the hollandaise sauce that you were aiming for. And then we'll do one more. And the reason you want to stir constantly is to keep the sauce from breaking. Last one. Here. Good whisks here. I'm going to take a break, add a pinch of salt. Got my salt right here in front of me. Pinch of cayenne. There we go. Stir that in. I'm going to turn this heat off completely now. Alright, I'm going to get a spoon. I'm going to try this. Or a fork. Just put that in there. It's nice and thick, it coats the fork or the spoon. Delicious. I'm actually going to turn the heat back on a little bit though. I think I want it to thicken just a little bit more. A little bit more salt actually. It's important to taste as you go. Beautiful. Perfect. So, we made a hollandaise sauce.
Thanks for tuning in and really hope you enjoyed the program. A big thank you to the province of Manitoba Safe at Home Grant, which allowed us to bring you these virtual programs. Make sure you check out FortWhyte.org for a lot more programs and activities. See you again soon.